This is LOA Recon with Good Vibe Coach Jeanette Ma, where we explore the ins and outs of conscious creation to manifest our favorite dreams come true. Let's have some fun together. Welcome and thank you for joining me for another episode. Every Star Trek fan knows that the Federation has one ultimate rule that all of Starfleet, all the commanders are bound by. That's the Prime Directive to not interfere with a less advanced alien society. It's the principle that guides them when tough decisions need to be made, that non-interference is the rule. Plus, it makes for some fun storylines. But you know what I like about this Prime Directive? How ridiculously clear it is, how much it simplifies things when they're in tricky situations. What should we do? Well, it becomes pretty obvious when you remember that the Prime Directive is to not interfere with less advanced societies. And I think it's the same for us as conscious creators, or at least it could be if we followed the manifesting Prime Directive as well as Starfleet follows theirs, because when you boil down all the manifesting teachings, it comes down to one overall rule that serves us to follow no matter what's going on, no matter what the situation might be. You know it too, right? It's to do what feels better. In thought and in action, all we ever have to do in order to allow our dreams to come true is to feel better. Bashar describes it as act on your highest excitement. Abraham sums it up by simply saying, get happy. That's all we ever have to do to be a match for what we want. Which makes sense, knowing what we know about how this all works. When we get on the vibrational wavelength of our desires, that's when they manifest. Not any sooner, because we can't experience what we're not the vibration of. And since we only ever want anything because we think we'll feel better when we have it, that's why feeling better is a requisite for dreams come true. Thus, our overriding instruction to find a way to feel better, however we can, in thought and action, that's our path to dreams come true. Isn't that an amazing system? Because that means we don't have to figure it out, we don't have to prove ourselves worthy or make our own way to it, or hope to get lucky, or wait for anyone else's approval. Just feel better, that's all. No fretting or worrying or justifying or explaining or solving required. Just whatever feels better. Imagine if we followed that even half as good as Picard and his crew do. Look, I know they break the rules sometimes for the sake of an entertaining story, and maybe that's okay for us too. Everyone likes a little drama sometimes, right? A little excitement to stir things up. That's okay if we do. But on the days when we don't, on the days when we really truly just want to have this issue resolved or that situation remedied, all we ever have to do is follow what feels better. I know I say this a lot, but let's be honest, don't we all need the reminder? I know I do. Like when the neighbor texted me about a baby raccoon on the side of the road at 9:30 at night with no mama or siblings in sight, and I didn't get that text till the next morning. I was worried. I felt bad. I wondered if I'd have gotten it sooner, could I have helped? And you know what? Worried and feeling bad are not the way to dreams come true. So, back to the Prime Directive. What's called for here? Oh, it's just what feels better. And for me, that was to do a quick drive-by in the morning and make sure that the baby wasn't obviously still there in need of help. And along the way, I met a fabulous new neighbor. In fact, we were in the right place at the right time when some other neighbors' 2 golden retrievers got loose. We helped them get back home safely and met that lovely new neighbor in the process. After that, I walked both sides of the road looking for the baby raccoon and didn't see anybody. That's all I got to do. No fretting, no worrying. Just remembering that if I'm needed, I will feel called. I will be drawn to wherever that is. I can trust my positive impulses. I don't have to try to orchestrate a happy ending here. That's universe's job. All I got to do is be a cooperative component to that happy ending, which means do whatever feels better. So worrying, blaming, judging, none of that was helpful. So I just got on with my day. And at the end of that day, I was out back mowing the lawn when the new neighbor I had met that morning walked up with her daughter and 2 grandchildren, one of whom was holding a baby raccoon in a towel. Oh my gosh. Look, I've never done this before, but it has been my fantasy that some way, somehow, I could somehow help with the baby raccoon. Look, it's not legal in my state, so it's a good thing I don't follow the law because I follow my inner guidance. I follow what feels better. And what felt better was to get that baby in a crate pronto because it was starting to make a fuss while that grandson was holding it. And then what felt better was to call someone who knows way more than I do, where I got instructions and resources and backup and help. It hasn't been that long yet, but things are already looking up for baby raccoon. And look, I wouldn't wish orphanhood on any animal, but I was secretly delighted to be able to serve in that way because now both of my dreams have been fulfilled to be able to care for a baby skunk and a baby raccoon. Oh my gosh, how lucky am I? It was the same routine when Chad walked in the house the other day with a hummingbird in a box after he retrieved it from one of the feral cats in the garage. Oh my gosh, what feels better? Well, I know where the rehabbers are, and if we hurry, we can get there before they close. We didn't hurry, though. We just called and told them we were on our way, so they waited for us. And the last I checked in there, the hummingbird was doing well on antibiotics and will be released in a couple weeks after growing a few more tail feathers back. So that's a big yay. The other night I was laying on the floor and I felt a weird pressure on my throat. And the next night, too, I felt it again. That was a little weird. And then the day after that, I had a little discomfort when I was swallowing the most amazing lemon blueberry loaf from Costco. So, that didn't seem great. These weird throat things. My mind raced to imagine how long will Sable have to live without me if I die of throat cancer. Yeah, that's my gremlins. They're major assholes. They don't screw around. They just go right to worst case scenario. Thank you very much, gremlins. But I know not to resist anything, and that means not be afraid of anything. And cancer is a topic I've done a lot of work on because it's easy to be afraid of it, at least for me it was. So as I was wondering, will I get the treatment for this cancer that I've self-diagnosed myself with? My gremlins diagnosed me with. Will I die an uncomfortable death? I thought I signed up for the happy, healthy, dead plan, but maybe throat cancer has something for me. I don't know. I looked it up in Louise Hay, throat stuff, thyroid stuff. I asked AI what it could be. Of course, it had a long list of potentials, and all of them included get to a doctor ASAP. And I haven't been to a doctor in so long, I don't remember the last time I went. But I think it's been close to 3 decades. I don't have a doctor. I don't even know what kind of insurance I have. So I'm sitting here wondering, am I going to go to a doctor over this? Will I regret it if I don't? AI says don't fool around with it. And before you know it, with thoughts like that, I'm digging a proper hole for myself on this subject. Until I remember, this isn't my problem to solve. I don't have to figure anything out. All I have to do is whatever feels better. What feels better? That's all I ever have to do. How can I be afraid of that when all there ever is for me to do is whatever feels better to me? There's nothing scary ahead when I keep reaching for what feels better, because fear is not that. My business is shifting as a result of influences from AI. Instead of worrying, oh, what does this mean? How do I respond? What might happen? I just remember, all I ever have to do is what feels better. Just follow that thread. That's where dreams come true. And it can't ever be bad when I'm a match too good, too happy and joyful and appreciation, and I'm pretty good at those vibrations. This is a good time to keep those handy. I'm carrying some extra weight that isn't my highest joy. What am I going to do about that? Oh, how about whatever feels better? I can't decide what to get Dad for Father's Day. He's so hard to shop for. What do I do? Whatever feels better. I thought that might mean I was going to show up empty-handed, but right before Chad left for work, a delivery arrived. He handed it to me and he said, I saw this and thought your dad might like it for Father's Day. It's a book. How about that? Ugh. I don't know how to get the algae out of the mini pond that I set up last year. And now I see why people don't have ponds. They get kind of gross. What am I going to do about this? Get rid of the pool? Use the chemicals? Let it be gross? Am I going to have to hand scrub everything? Oh, how about whatever feels better? Which included going on a garden tour. Y'all, I just recently organized local garden tours with fellow neighbors. Oh my word, so much fun. I was on one of those where someone told me exactly what to do with my pond, and it was easy peasy. No chemicals required, no hand scrubbing of rocks. How about that? And the next week, I saw her amazing pool. We were garden touring her place. Oh my gosh, she knows what she's talking about. I will say this, though, that following what feels better does require relaxing about the timing of the need to know in advance what the plan is going to be. In fact, just the other day, I was on a GVU call and told this story about how I was starting my day with, you guessed it, what feels best. We've been practicing with the 8+ living as an experiment this month at GVU. Anyway, 2 things came to mind that felt equally joyfully compelling to me. One was to go on a canyon walk with my dog, and the other was to take a shower because I could really use a shower. But I really wanted to get on the trail. But I didn't want to get dressed without getting cleaned up. But I didn't want to start the day with a shower. I wanted to start the day on the trailhead. I wanted to get there when it was still a crisp and cool morning. So I just asked myself what feels better. I genuinely didn't know. It was time to choose, and I didn't know. So I just ripped off my pajamas with flair and said, well, I guess I'll know when I get there. I'll either get in the shower or get dressed. I mean, it's happening in 5 seconds, and I don't know what it's going to be until I get there. But sure enough, once I got there, it was clear. I took a super fast shower and was on the trailhead in record time. And I know that doesn't make any sense because the trailhead is dusty and I'm sweating by the end of it. You know what? Guidance doesn't have to make sense. It only has to feel good. That's the literal definition of guidance. Whatever feels better. That's our inner being saying, this way do dreams come true. So I'm just saying that relaxing about having to see it or know it in advance is pretty key for following the prime directive as it's intended to work. Because our need to know, to have the assurances and the guarantees and the plans in place, that might give us a reason to relax, but sometimes that can interfere with hearing and following our guidance. Because you know this, once we've got a plan, sometimes we stick to the plan instead of honoring the feel-better impulses. You know what I mean? How we sometimes go on autopilot once we get a thing in mind instead of checking in with what feels better. So yeah, following what feels better requires us to tune to that information, not the pre-decided on plan, not the best industry practices, and not the county or state laws that say harboring raccoons is illegal, not what your loved ones want you to do. That's why it's a prime directive, because it overrides everything else. It matters more than any other input. Or at least I think it should. I think that would make a great prime directive for conscious creators. It's making me think about how I used to have a board in my office that worded it this way. The commander's intent is to feel better. The commander's intent is a principle used in battle when, the captains and colonels are away from the generals or whoever. They're out in the battlefield. Sometimes the situation changes in ways that had not been foreseen back at the planning table. So the captain has to be able to make decisions in alignment with the overall goals. In fact, I looked this up for you just to make sure I was quoting this right. Here's what it said. The commander's intent is designed to provide these leaders with the ability to deviate from a specific plan of attack if necessary, yet still accomplish the ultimate desires of their commander. This initiative is properly focused by a crystal clear expression and understanding of the commander's intent. I did like that. What I'm saying here is that all we ever have to do is what feels better, and we can trust ourselves to know that along the way. No other rules supersede this one. In conscious creation, what feels better is a reliable directive. So, my business is changing. Is that a sign for me to retire or to change my business model or get a job? No, Jeanette, it's a sign to do what feels better. My body has strange symptoms. Is it a sign to go to the doctor, research it myself, ignore it, and hope for the best? No, it's a sign to do what feels better. My baby raccoon is the cutest thing I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. Is it a sign to become an underground raccoon rescuer? No, it's a sign to do what feels better. My dad is hard to shop for. Is that a sign to stop shopping or to shop harder or to shop longer? No, it's a sign to do what feels better. And I remind myself to be open about what that is because it might surprise me. The reason I repeat this message about following what feels best is because, let's be honest, we need the reminders. It is so easy to get caught up in doing things according to some other rule, like what's expected or what others want or what we've done before or what the experts say, yada, yada. That is not the prime directive for conscious creators. For us, it's simply what feels better. We can take that into battle and be assured of happy endings. Okay, I hope you got some inspiration from this. Thanks for listening and happy manifesting.